Hello and Assalamu alaikum viewers. This is your host Farhan Iqbal and you're watching Newspoint. So in the past 5 to 6 months we saw regular FSW draws every 2 weeks. I believe only once there was a gap of 3 weeks, but then after some time they did a draw after 1 week. So they were always on the schedule of 2 weeks. And in 2021 the first draw had been a PNP CEC only draw after a gap of 5 to 6 months. Toward the end of the 2020, when they started issuing more than 5,000 ITS, we started seeing a decline in FSW cutoff. I believe in every draw there was 1 or 2 points drop, and we were hoping that if a regular draw happens, then the cutoff would be around 466. But when the PNP draw happened, we knew that most likely it would be a CEC only draw, and we forecasted that the cutoff would be 461, and it was exactly 461, which was a good news actually for those people who are in CEC. And I always say it's a good news for even other people as well, because a lot of the people have been cleared from the pool who were above 460. So what we are going to do is we are going to take a look at the data, see how many people are there in each range, and then make our forecast that what would be the cutoff if it is going to be a FSW draw. And then probably tomorrow we will post the other video that if it is going to be a CEC only draw, then what would be the cutoff in that draw. Let's take a look at the data. If you still haven't subscribed our channel, consider subscribing our channel so that you never miss any of the updates from our side. So here we have all the data from all the way from August till the very last draw, which happened on January 7. So on 6th January there was a PNP draw, and then the draw was posted on 8th January, although as per CEC's website it had happened on January 7th. As usual, there was a 14 days gap or 2 weeks gap between the two draws. And the data which was posted before this draw was from 4th January, which was 2 days prior to the PNP only draw. So in the PNP only draw, which happened on January 6th, we saw 250 people had got invitations, and then the remaining 4750 people were invited on the next draw, which was the CEC only draw. Let's take a look at that how many people were there on January 4th when the data was published, and then from there we will try to figure out that how many people would be there on January 20th when we are expecting the next draw. Starting at 601 to 1200, which is the PNP category, on 4th of January there were only 183 people, but we know that by January 6th when the draw happened, this number had reached up to 250. That is why 250 invitations were issued, which was quite low than what we were seeing in the past, and that was probably because there were 2-3 holidays in these 14 days, so not many people applied. People were probably meeting with their families and whatnot, and not many people got PNP approvals. So that is why relatively this number was lower as compared to what we were seeing earlier. Over here this number is 185, but that time the draw had happened only after 1 week's gap. Then the next category is 501 to 600. These are also mostly people who have a job offer and whatnot. So even in this category we saw a very lower number, 273, which was significantly lower what we had been seeing in the past. So a drop of 117 people in this category. Then 491 to 500, high scoring category. Over here there were 231 people who created their profile. This was relatively low, but we had seen almost similar number in the December end as well. So still it was at 24 less than what we saw in the end of December. Then 481 to 490, 486 profile, relatively less than what we were seeing in the past, 46 people less than what we saw in end of December. And then 471 to 480, 1134 people, relatively lower than what we had been seeing in the past, and about 200 lower than what we saw towards the end of December. So from 471 to 1200, there were 2300 new profiles which were created after this draw happened on 23rd December and till this data was published on 4th of January. So that was probably about 11 days. So roughly 200 people who had a score of 471 and plus, they had applied in those 11 days. So roughly 200 people or so each single day, which was significantly lower than what we were seeing in the past. Yeah, over here it was 250, but before that I believe it used to be about 300 people every single day. Then 461 to 470, there are still 10,664 people. This is a little less than what we saw in the past, but that is also because when the draw happened over here, the cutoff was 468, so a lot of people at 468, 469, especially at 468 because the draw had not happened with the CRS as low as 468 for a while. So there would have been at least 1,000 people on 468 had been taken out, and then probably few more people created their profiles. That is why this number is at 10,664, but still 600 less than what we were seeing before this draw. So holistically, from 461 to 1200, there are about 13,000 people. Now, if the next draw is going to be FSW draw, let's look what happened in the previous draw. So we know that in the previous draw, 5,000 ITAs were issued if we combine both PNP and CEC, 250 in PNP and then 4750 in CEC. So I have mentioned in the past as well that I believe that especially in this category 461 and higher, almost 50% of the people who are applying are PNP CEC only people. So we know for a fact that 250 people were PNP. So of the remaining about 2,000 people, I would say another 1,000 would be CEC only people. So about 1250 people which are taken out of the pool, and remaining about 1,000 people or maybe 1100 people are left in the pool after this draw who are still in the pool who are not CEC. So if you consider how many people are left in the pool who are above 471, I would say it is close to 1,000. It could be 1100, but it is close to 1,000. It could be 900 as well, but approximately 1,000 is a safe bet. So the number of profiles created since this draw till January 4th is 2,300. We can see from here that 2,300 people were there in the pool on January 4th. So although I mentioned that in this period about 200 people who had a score of 471 and higher applied, but I am going to assume that now since the holidays are over and going back to the previous pattern, about 300 people would be creating their profiles every single day. It could be 350, it could be 250, but I would say 300 is in between, so I'm going to take 300. So if 300 people are applying every single day and we already have 1,000 people in the pool who have a score of 471 and higher, so that means that on January 20th, when we are expecting the draw, about 4,000 or 4,600 people would be there in the pool. I am taking like about in 12 days, 300 people, that's about 3,600 and then 1,000 from here. So maybe between 4,000 to 4,600. It could be a little higher. I don't think it would be lower than 4,000. It could actually be higher than 4,600. It very well could be 5,000. So what would be the cutoff if the next draw is going to be a all program draw and 5,000 ITAs are issued? My guess is that the cutoff would be 469 to 470. Most chances are of 469 and less chances are of 470. 470 would be in the case if like 350 or those kind of numbers which we were seeing somewhere over here, people are applying every single day. So cutoff, I would say maybe 469 or 470. If I have to give a range, it could be 460 to 470. 470 probably very less chances, 468 also pretty less chances. 469 probably would be my number, but it could be 468 as well. I would be really surprised if it is 467. So our forecast for the next draw, if it is going to be an FSW draw, is 469. Viewers, we hope that you found today's video informative. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Until next time, this is your host Farhan Iqbal signing off. Assalamu alaikum.